third eye was opened and I was initiated into my psychic powers.
How often do people who are dead reach out to you to pass on something to people living?
If I let my guards down, it can happen all the time.
You're saying that you can change the future by looking at somebody and saying this is what they should do.
If something is karmic, that cannot be changed. Have you seen the movie Lucy? She can just see these strands just connecting from people's crown going all the way up into the sky. That's what I do. I tap into people's energy. People would, अच्छा तू काला जादू करती है, अच्छा तू भूतों से बात करती है. Like people have that kind of a notion. What money is for human beings, energy is for soul.
You take out the spirits if they are embodied in a human person.
Entities and spirits. I can tell whether a person's authentic soul is inside the body or not. अच्छे लोगों के साथ बुरा क्यों होता है? बुरा दोनों के साथ होता है. सिर्फ अच्छे लोगों को पता है कि उनके साथ बुरा हो रहा है. They come back saying your prediction has not come true, and I'm like, because you've not done what I asked you to do.
So have your predictions gone wrong?
Predictions have gone wrong, but in terms of timelines. Just because you're getting a message does not mean you have to put it out there. There was this unmarried lady, she was 39. She was subconsciously blocking her own marriage because of the fear of leaving her old parents. When I brought this to her notice, in the next 11 months she was married.
How do you know if something is a karmic lesson? Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Aleena Dissects. I know that I keep saying that we're doing different podcasts with different guests, but today's guest is actually very different from anybody that we've had on the podcast. It's going to be a very enriching content piece if you watch the whole podcast, which you should, because I'm going to be learning so many new things just like you guys are, and we're going to be open-minded to take in all the information because this is new information, I know, for myself and for my audiences also. It's one on spirituality and karma, and thank you so much, Tamanna, for being here.
Thank you, Aleena, for having me.
And I'm so excited to be talking to you. I understand a little bit of what a karma coach is, but if you could tell us in the lens of when somebody comes to you,
Sure.
What is it that they should expect from you? Because that I find a little bit unclear.
So in a normal reading that I do, Aleena, I just delve into people's energy. Now, we as humans, we are not linear, we are multidimensional. So you have your aura, you have your physical body, you have your mental and emotional body, how you perceive life, how you feel about situations, and how you respond to the world around you. And then you have the spiritual body. So when a client comes to me, I tap into all their energy fields. So in the auric level, I see their spirit guides or someone who's passed away. And I tell them that, okay, this family member's around you. Then I tap into their physical body. So with just their name, I will actually pinpoint what are the physical ailments they already have or will have so that they can take care of. Then I do predictions for the next 2 years about their physical body in terms of every time their health is going to be low, I just download that information. Then I talk about their karmic lessons. Karmic lessons are the mental and emotional behavior changes you need to make so that you can enjoy a better quality of life. And then I come to the soul's karmic journey. So what the soul has chosen for the next 2 years, what you need to do, where you need to invest your energies, where you shouldn't invest your energies. Because in the materialistic world or the third dimensional world or the 3D world that we live in, Aleena, there are two aspects. One is time and one is material world, which is your business, your money, and your relationships. Now, relationships are broken down into family relationships, love relationships, and social relationships. So I do a detailed prediction for health, career, finance, when you should make investments, their family, their love life, their marriage, their social cycle, their spiritual cycle, and their emotional cycle. So that's what I do in a very general reading.
Okay. One question that comes to my mind is that you are able to do this because of the practice that you've had for so long, or does it come naturally to you? And how do you do it? Like if somebody is sitting in front of you, how can you tell what their life is or has been?
So it's a bit of both. I was gifted with it. And I also learned a lot on the way. So I went through very early training. In my third eye was opened, and I was initiated into my psychic powers through my guru. So one was that aspect where I was taught a lot of techniques very early on in life, but most of the techniques were healing techniques. 17 years of practice into this professionally, which is you're doing on an average 4 to 5 readings a day. So with over like 100,000 clients across the globe, it just comes to you, right? It's also practice. So like when I started my journey, I would take 5 to 7 minutes to connect to the client's energy.
Okay.
Right now, I literally take 3 seconds to connect to the client's energy. So it just happens.
Wow. Very interesting. If you are able to predict
Mhm.
what somebody is going to be able to do or have, or illnesses and ailments, etc., how would that be changeable? You're saying that you can change the future by looking at somebody and saying this is what they should do and what they shouldn't.
So there's a slight difference between changing something. Now, karma, if something is karmic, that cannot be changed, but it can be altered with awareness and consciousness.
Okay.
Okay. That's one aspect of it. Now, the second aspect of it is something may not be karmic, but they could be unconsciously doing something that could lead to an ailment or a negative situation in the future. Does that make sense? So, you know, I have people coming to me saying, I'm going through repeated patterns in my personal relationships. Why am I attracting unavailable partners? And so many times it shows up that because you are doing something unconsciously, because of which you're attracting, you know, commitment phobic partners or unavailable partners. It's not karma that, oh, you have to go through a series of broken relationships and attract, you know, emotionally unavailable partners. So I identify what is karmic, what is non-karmic. Non-karmic, you can very well tweak immediately.
Okay.
What is karmic? You have to go through it. But when you're aware, you become a lot more conscious about it. So you can reduce the intensity of the pain and suffering.
How do you know if something is a karmic lesson?
So that's where I come into the play. So when I call myself a karma coach or when I read people's karmas, I'm able to tell people that is this a part of your karma? This is not a part of your karma. So in a layman's language, say you jump from the 6th floor and you have a fracture. Now that fracture is not karmic.
Okay.
It could be because of your choice of free will, right? Do you know what I mean? So unfortunately, people blame every suffering on karma. When people are making money, when people are successful, when people are traveling internationally, when people have the money to spend on luxuries and, you know, they meet the right partner, that time they don't give karma any credit. All the credit goes to them. But the minute there's suffering, the minute there's a downfall, karma is to be blamed for everything. Why? So, you know, I always say that life is 50% karma, but it's also your choices that make a world of a difference. And that's where every spiritual book in the world, every spiritual guru talks about 2 words in common. In no matter what language, it could be a Buddhist monk, it could be a Hindu priest, it could be a Catholic, it could be, you know, a Muslim priest. We all talk about awareness and consciousness. Because it is only through awareness and consciousness you can break through your karmic baggage.
And how is it different from astrology?
So astrology is basically the science of how the 9 planets are going to affect your life and the combination of it.
Right.
Now, astrology is a very powerful scientific tool, which of course holds a lot of ancient wisdom also. But also what happens is in astrology, unfortunately, the science of it has taken over the ancient wisdom. So in astrology, a lot also depends on the energy of the astrologer.
Okay.
I completely love astrology. But when something gets diluted over generations and generations, it just becomes more commercial and it loses its essence. Right? Today, anyone can do a 1 year, 6 months astrology course and call themselves astrologers.
Yes.
But not necessarily their understanding and reading of how the planetary positions might help will really be precise or accurate. Because even in astrology, there are different ways to look at planetary positions. You have the Vedic way, you have the South Indian way, you have the North Indian way. There are so many different ways. So, astrology is a science along with an ancient wisdom. What I do is not science, it's purely gifted and intuitive. So, like people ask me, can we learn? Can you teach us what you do? And I'm like, I would love to, but I don't know because it was never taught to me. It came to me. So, even if I have to teach you someone how to read a karmic chart, I'll be like, close your eyes and just download. But they'll be like, you don't know how to download.
Right.
Because I have no technique. This is not a science, this is a gift.
Again, this could be a layman question, but I know a lot of people who have these powers, okay? Now, I don't know what category and all, but I have met a lot of people who have these innate abilities to be able to tell the future, to be able to tell people, to be able to tell situations. They are always hidden. And they're always hidden because they've all told me this one-on-one. Like I told you, I love speaking to such people. And they've all told me one-on-one that, you know, if we tell our powers to the world, it attracts a lot of negativity and negative energy, and it also then dilutes the value of the power that these people have. Has that been true for you?
No, for the simple reason, Aleena, I have still not told people about the powers and the actual gifts I have. What I do is just a part of my work, which is what people see one-on-one. So it's an experience. But what I can actually do, what I actually do in my day-to-day life, my gifts, my powers are much, much more beyond that.
Okay.
So what people experience of me in a karmic chart reading or a spirit communication is just the tip of the iceberg. So I've technically never really revealed a lot more.
So is there, for example, are there things that you can predict that you cannot say out loud?
Of course.
And that have come true?
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
I have a diary where I write all my intuitive messages that I get globally for people. And also the thing is, the thumb rule in this gift is, just because you're getting a message does not mean you have to put it out there.
Yes, that's what they've told me.
Yes. So till the time people do not ask me for help or ask me to do a reading, I don't get the permission, I will not read their energies. And it could be my own partner. I've never read his energies because I've not got the permission. So the thumb rule is, you can't misuse your powers to read people or intervene in their life or their choice of karma.
Okay. Now, again, from my experience, I am able to sense a lot of what other people are sensing.
Yeah.
Okay. I keep it to myself most of the time, so I feel like it's not my place. But you know, if somebody is going through something difficult, or if somebody is like laughing, but then you know that they're sad behind, or whatever that's called, I've never named it or known what to name it also. I actually went to therapy and I said, you know, when somebody comes to me and says that, you know, we're going through this problem, I feel like I've become a part of the problem, because then I start looking for solution, or then I'll be like, oh my God, this person is going through so much. I feel so much of what the other person is going through, and it drains a lot of my energy. And so I had to differentiate how to be able to do that. When you're accessing so many people's energies and powers and like whatever they have in their lives, does it impact your own life in a lot of different ways because you're taking in so much?
Yes and no. Yes is because when I was a lot younger, you know, I would get impacted, because when I also started this journey when I was 22, 23. So very early on, I was exposed to like deep issues of people's lives.
Right.
So over a period of time, I've learned to disconnect. And also, Aleena, I'm not an empath.
Oh.
So there's a lot of difference between someone who's intuitive. Not every empath is intuitive.
Oh, I thought they go hand in hand.
No. Empath is someone who can feel other people's emotions. So for example, say you're sad and I'm an empath and I'm picking up your sadness.
Yes.
I'm just absorbing what you are going through. I'm not making a prediction about you that, oh, she's sad. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So an intuition is a gut or a inner voice that guides you towards something. Now, if you're feeling sad and I told you that, okay, Aleena, you need to break up with this guy, you know, this relation is not going to work out. That is an intuitive or a psychic message. Me just saying that, oh, Aleena, why are you sad?
Hmm.
Are you going through something? That is not a prediction or an intuition.
Hmm.
So many times people confuse psychic abilities with empathy and empathy with psychic abilities. But in an empath, you're only tapping into the one out of the 5 different realms that I spoke about in the beginning. Does that make sense?
Yes, now I understand. Because I am an empath. I feel a lot of what other people are feeling.
Yeah.
And I am training myself to be able to detach from, so I can help the person better.
Yeah.
Instead of going through what they're going through. Another basic question, okay? So if you were to predict somebody is going to go through an illness or a bad time, and you want to help change that, but don't you think that if, for example, if somebody told me that, Aleena, you're gonna fall sick, example, broad one, I'm going to be worrying more about falling sick in that whole time, right? And I believe that whatever you say or feel, you attract that. So isn't it contradictory to then healing or becoming better?
Not at all. I simply tell people that, Aleena, in the world that we live in, human form, we are controlled by time. Even I remember, that Mahabharat series used to come, and the first opening line was "Main waqt hu, main samay hu," and I'm the most powerful. Please understand what humans can control everything on earth. The only thing they can't control is time, because time is the most powerful tool. Time is also part of nature, and it is the law of nature. What goes up goes down, and what goes down goes up. Now imagine if someone didn't go through a low health cycle, or there was nothing called a low health cycle. There would not be any discipline in this world. We all would be sitting and eating each other up. Think about it.
Of course, I strongly believe that if you're not sad, you won't know what is happening.
Exactly. So when I tell people that, listen, this is going to be a low time period, I'm preparing them that take care, slow down. It's time for your body to rest. Okay. And even if you fall sick, it's a 15-day cycle, it's a 26-day cycle, it's a 1-month cycle, it's a 12-day cycle. It will pass. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So what happens is, when they know that something like this is going to happen, they start taking precautions rather than going through it.
Okay, so nobody's come to you and be like, no, but I'm very worried you said that this is going to happen.
No, but then I also give them tools and techniques how to handle it, because I back everything that I'm saying with logic. So if they say that, oh, but I don't want to fall sick, then I'll be like, I'm sorry, but that's not possible. Because you can't control that. But by eating right, by sleeping well, in case you're going to have fever, say I make a prediction that, okay, you're going to fall sick and you're going to have fever. Now, whether it's going to be 99 fever or 104 will depend on them, how much they want to control it. Now, if I tell you, Aleena, that say from 1st of August, you're going to fall sick for the next 15 days, and 31st August or 2nd of August, 31st July or 2nd of August, you get 99 fever. Now, if you listen to what I've said, it will play on your mind.
Yes.
Like, oh, Tamanna had said, I need to take care of my health. Let me not eat outside food. Let me take it easy. Let me not do a late night. Let me not party. Or let me go easy on work. Let me not overcommit. And if you rest at home for 2 days, that 99 will go away in 2 days. But if you neglect that message and you're out there working 18 hours a day, traveling, eating outside food, that 99 fever will go up to 104 fever. And then you will be forced to rest. Are you getting what I'm... So here, I reduce the intensity of the pain and suffering by guiding the clients in a better way.
Got it. Can you tell me a story where somebody's come to you and they've done a session with you and it's changed a life of somebody based on what you told them? For example, if they understood their karma and it changed their life, which must be a lot of your clients, right? So without naming, of course, if you can tell us what changed, how it changed their life.
So there are so many clients. Like, for example, there was this unmarried lady. She was all about 39. And she was desperate to get married. And every time she would come to me frequently, I'd be like, listen, your timing is very good. You can meet people. And she's like, I am meeting people, but I'm just not closing on something. Either I don't like the guy or I'm attracting unavailable partners. And then when I went to the root cause of it, she was unconsciously or subconsciously blocking her own marriage because of the fear of leaving her old parents. And
Okay.
unconsciously, she had taken it on her emotional responsibility that if I get married and I will leave my parents, who's going to take care of them? And I will be a bad daughter. So I had to change that pattern for her. And she had siblings. It's not that she didn't have siblings or she was the alone, the only child. And then when I brought this to her notice, it kind of changed things for her. In the next 11 months, she was married. In 6 months, she met her partner, and 11 months, she was married. So
Wow.
things like these, or say, like, especially with disputes happening or a divorce, sometimes people go through a bad marriage because it's a timing aspect of it. And sometimes people go through a bad marriage because karmically you're not meant to be together. I've seen couples who are going through a bad patch and they want to file for divorce. And I'm like, listen, you guys are workable. I don't see a divorce in the karma. Pull it through this time period. There will be reconciliation and everything will be fine. And they've come back after 6-8 months saying, Tamanna, we are back together, doing marriage counseling, and everything's okay. So, and then there are couples who keep wasting their life trying to invest in a non-karmic relationship and they're still not getting any energy out of it. And then sometimes you have to let it go.
How do you know if a relationship is karmically good for you?
Again, that comes up in the reading. So, how astrologers do a Kundli match, I just take the name of both the people and I have the gift of again telling whether this is going to work out, not going to work out. Even if it's going to work out, what are the hiccups you could go through? Or some people are adamant, right? Because they are in love. And love is not karma or karmic connection.
Okay.
Okay. We love people for each other's personalities, how the other person makes us feel. So if there's a void in us and the other person is fulfilling that void, we will call it love. But on the soul level, the soul is whole and complete. The soul is not into broken pieces. So just because you're in love with somebody does not mean it's a karmic match.
Okay.
And that's also why, so I'm sure you've heard of so many love marriages, dating each other for 10 years, 15 years, 8 years. The minute they get married, issues start.
Yes.
And then 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they go through divorce. How do you justify that? Where's the love? And then there are people who are strangers, never been in love, but come together and are happily married. So there is something beyond love to keep the marriage going.
It is karma.
It has to be karmic.
From this life or from the lives you lived before?
It could be lives you've lived before as well. And also your present timelines matter. Like just because, like I've dealt with clients and when they come to me saying, oh, I've met this person and I have this strong attachment, but then I'm like, this is a partner from another lifetime. But that does not mean in this lifetime you have to have a romantic relationship. In this lifetime, you have a karma towards somebody new. So just because you've shared a romantic or a partner or a soulmate relationship with someone else in the past does not mean you have to be with the same person in this lifetime.
Okay.
And I'll also tell you why, if you want to know.
Why?
For the simple reason that if we kept attracting or binding ourselves to only those 8 to 10 souls, we as souls would not grow. There would not be any evolution, right? Because there comes a point where you get so comfortable with the other soul's energies that there's more attachment and there's more love and there's more ease and there's no pain and there's no growth there.
And why do we have to go through so much pain?
Evolution and also balancing. Karma is all about releasing and balancing. So if I've hurt you or betrayed you in some lifetime, till the time I don't go through betrayal myself in any other way, I will keep carrying that energy imprint in my incomplete karma.
Has somebody come to you where they say they don't believe in karma?
No.
Okay. I had a comedian on the show and I asked them like, do you believe in karma? Because if you are going to make jokes on people and they get offended, now that's not your intention, but you know how people do get offended. I mean, my solution is don't watch it, but you have people who get offended. Then I feel like it's going to come back to the person who's
Mhm.
creating this kind of content or jokes, right? Tell me, when you have such careers, or where you have such things that you're going to say that is probably going to hurt somebody in some way, is that taking upon karma on yourself, which you don't really want?
Yes and no, because karma is also about intention. It's not only about the action,
Okay.
it's the intention also.
Okay.
Now, if the comedian is using other people's emotions to get more TRP, to get more audience, to get more likes, the intent is only to put the other person down, so that then I would say that's a negative karma.
Okay.
But if the comedian is doing something very unintentionally, in good humor, in good taste, he's doing it out of a space of a good intention, that I'm here to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Now, if that offends somebody or triggers something in somebody, that is the other person's emotions, right? Because think about it, Aleena, if everybody, there are 8 billion people in the world, and if everyone starts taking emotional responsibility for 8 billion raised to the power of 8 billion, no one would even move from where they are, because you don't know what might offend the other person, right? So you can't wallow in what other people are going to think, because for the simple reason, everybody is here on their own journey, and if what you are doing is going to trigger other people, that's their problem. But your intention should be right.
Otherwise,
So-
I can come back
Yes,
to you.
yes.
And that's how karma works.
That's how karma.
I know people who say that karma doesn't work, because I know people who do bad things all the time and nothing happens to them. And my response to that was that karma is not immediate.
My question is, why are they attracting bad people in their life?
No,
Because there are good people also in the
Right.
world. And in fact, someone had asked this question to me years ago, that, अच्छे लोगों के साथ बुरा क्यों होता है?
Right.
And I said, नहीं, बुरा दोनों के साथ होता है. सिर्फ अच्छे लोगों को पता है कि उनके साथ बुरा हो रहा है. बुरे लोगों को नहीं पता है उनके साथ बुरा हो रहा है. There's a difference there. So let me give you an example.
Yes.
Say today you've been an honest person and someone scams you of, say, 10,000 bucks. It will pinch you.
Yes.
But if someone is a thief, or someone has scammed people and made 10 lakhs, but if someone scams them of those 10,000, they won't feel the pinch. Think about it. So that's how it works.
They just don't realize it.
Bad things happen to bad people also, but they don't make that much of a hue and cry about it, because it's like a gray spot on a black wall. Versus a gray spot on a white wall, even that gray will become like, oh my God, such a pain point. तो बुरा सबके साथ होता है. Nobody is exempted of karma. Even the nicer people go through pain. Even the worst of people go through pain. But it's just that, like I said, when bad people are going through bad things, they don't realize that this bad thing is happening to me, because that's normal for them.
Okay. Now, see, so many good people go through these like phases of life that are so bad and so low. And I've heard you call it like the dark night of the soul,
Yes.
which we have to go through. So, like, how often in everybody's lifetime does this happen? And is it repeated in their lives again and again?
It can be repeated. Now, if at all you wake up and you go through your spiritual awakening, you're good to go for a couple of years or decades.
Okay.
But then also you peak a spiritual evolution, and then you have to go through another phase, right? So it's like in board exams. You've cleared 10th standard and you have a board exam to give. Now, if you decide to do a 10 plus 2, you have a board exam to give in 12th also. Now, some people pick up a job after 12th and they don't want to study further. But some people who want to study further then also have engineering exams. They have their final 4-year exams after engineering, 4-year exams after medical. Now, if you've done your PhD or your MBBS, then you can choose to work as a normal physician. But now if you want to make more money and you want to become a cardiologist or dentist, a gynac, then you have to study further and give more exams. So it depends on how much the soul wants to grow.
Do we have any control on that?
We have all the control on that.
Okay.
But it's happening at a very subtle, unconscious level.
Okay.
Coming back to your original question, you can go through many phases of the dark night of the soul. Now, the phases can happen because you've not awakened after the first phase. So it will keep coming back
Okay.
till the time you don't grow or take that as an awakening. Or even if you've awakened, you go through different realms of tests and different realms of evolution. So there's no end to it.
Should a person be aware that this is happening, that this is the phase of the soul that is in a dark phase, so that they can change it?
They just have to go through it. I think more than awareness here, Aleena, the key is acceptance. You just have to accept that this is a part of life, and it's, the tunnel is going to end and there will be light by the end of it. So they just have to accept it rather than resisting it. What makes it difficult is people victimize it. People resist it. And the more you try to resist it and, brush your emotions or pain under the carpet or be in denial about it, the slower your journey is.
Okay. Is it different for different people?
It is different for different people. Some people don't go through it. So, for example, if some soul has chosen that in this lifetime, I have nothing to do with spirituality. I just want to be a rich housewife living on my husband's money and doing the social do's and kitty parties and all of that. And in this lifetime, I don't want any spiritual pain. I don't want spiritual evolution. I will do it after 2 lifetimes. They won't go through it.
So the soul decides that.
That is all pre-decided before we are born.
Okay.
So, and then some souls go like, you know what, I've done with my materialistic, I've enjoyed all of that, and now I want to take to the spiritual way. They go through multiple dark nights of the soul in one lifetime.
Keeping spirituality on one side, for example, for me, I have really big goals, really big dreams. A lot of people around me don't have. Now I know that if I want to be able to achieve what I want to achieve, I will have to go through hardships.
Yes.
And when I do go through these, I tell the people around me that I didn't ask God for an easy life. I want God to give me a very fulfilled, very extravagant, going through everything, experiencing everything in life, right? So is this a choice that I have made for myself? But if I choose that, maybe I don't want all of these things. Maybe I want to live a regular life, which is a lot of my friends around me will say, right? Isn't that upon us to decide how we want our life to be?
Of course, absolutely. And that's where the choice of free will comes. And like I said, life is 50% karma and 50% choice.
Okay.
Now, suppose in this lifetime, you have chosen to be a working woman. That's karmic. But out of choice of free will, you say that, you know what, I don't want to work. I just want to chill. I just want to give birth to 3-4 kids and just be a mother. There's nothing wrong in that. But then you will carry forward that life of wanting to go through being financially independent and being a career woman maybe in another lifetime. And maybe in that lifetime, you may be deprived of kids because your focus should only be career. Then that becomes the karmic theme. So while we have multiple karmic lessons, every blueprint that we create revolves around specific themes.
Okay.
So, this was something when, again, I was very young and I still remember bits of my guru's conversation with my mother because I was 9 or 10. So this is one of those faint conversations where I could hear my guru actually telling my mom that she's carrying a gift from some life and in this lifetime she's here to channel it. Now maybe in another life I must have done my tapasya and meditation and read scriptures and all of that, but I've never really helped people with that. So maybe in this lifetime my theme revolves around helping people with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So maybe in another lifetime, I've just lived as a submissive housewife, or I could have been a man just focusing on making money. Because like I said, we all as souls have to taste different experiences till the time we don't come together as whole. So we have to go through materialistic pleasures. We have to go through the luxury life. We have to go through living in poverty and experiencing that. We have to go through betrayal. We have to go through all of that. So that's how karma works.
Okay, and when somebody comes to you, you make a blueprint for them to follow.
I download like a blueprint, yeah.
Okay, what does that mean?
Have you seen the movie Lucy, Scarlett Johansson, where she reaches a point where she can use and increase her brain capacity to like 99% and at
Oh, it's
100%.
called Lucy. There's
It's called,
another one also,
okay.
wherein they have a medicine and then that opens their mind.
Yeah, this is also similar where they
Similar.
inject something.
Yes.
So there's one scene, and when I saw that scene, I was like, okay, that is me doing what I do. There's a scene where it's towards the end where she's sitting in the car and she's stuck in traffic or she's going somewhere, and she could see people around her, and she could just see these strands of, you know how you have these negative films?
Okay.
Just connecting from people's crown going all the way up into the sky. So it's a
Okay.
very, that scene is in that movie for not more than 5 to 6 seconds. But when I saw that scene, that's what I do. I tap into people's energy
Okay.
and I can zoom in and zoom out. So even if someone is sitting with me in 2025 and they're like, the minute they mention, oh, 2009, and I'm like, yeah, this happened in 2009. And they've not even like mentioned it. So I can zoom in and zoom out on the karmic. Now, how I download it is by me just closing my eyes and I start talking.
Okay.
So every conversation, every session I do, be it on Zoom or be it in person, is always recorded because I will say things and I will forget.
Right.
So if you ask me what I said 3 minutes ago, I will not remember.
Because your brain is processing so much
because
of
my
what
brain-
is happening right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. How does one come to know what is their karmic lesson?
So in a layman's language, whatever situation that you're going through and whatever triggers you, the opposite of that is where your karmic lesson lies.
Example.
Okay. Say you come back to me saying, Tamanna, I'm having a very difficult boss
Okay.
who's always bullying me, who's always disrespecting me, and you find it difficult to assert yourself and stand up for yourself. Now, if that bullying or the aggressive behavior or the belittling is triggering you, which means your lesson is the opposite of that, which is standing up for yourself or being assertive. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
If your lesson is, say, tolerance, you will attract people who are always going to get onto your nerve. If your lesson is, being misunderstood, what is the lesson? What's the opposite of being misunderstood is being understood. How will you be understood? By being emotionally communicative. Now, some people find it very difficult to emotionally communicate themselves. Some people find it very difficult to, trust people. This is a very common that people have, that they go through repeated patterns of betrayal, which means the lesson there is to trust yourself. Because if you trust yourself, nobody in this world can betray you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, in a layman's language, what triggers you is where your karmic lessons lie.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you next that, you're talking about repeated patterns, and I do believe in it, that when something's happening to your life, the same exact thing is happening to you again and again, it means that life is trying to teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
But what happens is people don't know what is the lesson it's trying to teach, which is why they don't know how to solve that problem.
Yeah. So, you have to see what triggers you and how you can balance it with the opposite energy.
That's a good one. But in terms of the ups and downs, isn't that a regular thing that keeps happening?
It is. But also what
With life.
happens is, say you come to me as a client and I do a detailed prediction that 2 months, this is a good period, invest your energies here. 1 month, this is going to be slow, go easy.
Okay.
Wouldn't your life be a lot easier?
So, for example, if you told me right now focus on, say, relationship, then after 2 months, do more of work. That's what you
Correct.
would tell.
So imagine there are 7 or 8 stock market.
Yes.
Imagine someone told you that, Aleena, invest in the Tata, it will go up. Don't invest in a
Right.
Ambani or Reliance, it will go down. How much money are you going to make? Please tell me. Similarly, if someone told you that, okay, your social cycle is low, don't go out that much, your career cycle is good, invest your energies there.
Okay.
How much energy are you going to conserve in life? And energy is equivalent to soul frequency. So what money is for human beings, energy is for soul. Because we all keep talking about, oh, we are depleted, we are drained out, we are stressed, we are anxious, we are fearful. That's all energy. And people, what we talk about, depression and anxiety and overburnt, that is all running on low energy. So imagine if people learned how to handle their energy, where would life be for them?
Okay.
Today, making money is very easy. What is difficult is handling money and sustaining money. And that what makes people different. The difference between a normal person and a wealthy person is the wealthy person knows how to handle money, conserve that money,
And grow them.
and grow the money. Normal people make money, but they don't sustain the money, right?
Isn't it a mindset thing?
It's also an art. It's not a mindset. It has to come to be naturally. Some people don't even know the meaning of sustaining money and growing money. They're just living in survival mode कि पैसे बनाने हैं और खर्चा करना है. Again, you can decipher the quality of life, right? You look at their quality of life and you look at the quality of life that the other people or the wealthiers are. Similarly, on the spiritual level, energy is everything. What is every social media is talking about? Be energy rich. What does that mean? Is learning how to handle your own energies. Why do we go for therapy? Because it teaches how you can regulate your own emotions. What is regulating your own emotions is handling your own emotions rather than throwing it on other people.
Right.
So by the end of it, it all boils down to energy. When you die, hell and heaven, what we talk about is how much energy you're carrying back. How much good energy you're carrying back, how much low vibration you're carrying back. Does that make sense?
Yes. If you can predict what is going to happen and you can at some level be able to change it with your predictions, won't you have the power to be able to do anything for another person? Say, for example, you said, Aleena, you're going to make a lot of money, concentrate in this period of time. And with your help, I could become a multimillionaire tomorrow.
You can, provided you take my guidance to the T.
Have you ever done that for somebody?
I have. I remember just before COVID hit. COVID hit in March 2020. December 30th, I done a live interview with ET now. And in that, I made the financial prediction psychically for the year 2020. And during that period, I did talk about the markets crashing. And at that point, people thought that I was crazy because I told them that after Feb 22nd, 2020, the market will crash. And it will only pick up after July 2020. And people were literally like commenting like, this girl doesn't know what she's doing. And now, during that period, people who took my advice seriously, I've got few clients from there and they get in touch with me and they're like, we only want stock market prediction.
Okay.
And they ask me questions based on that. See, my reading is not based on people's story or what they want. My reading is based on their questions.
Okay.
How precise you are is how precise my answer will be.
Okay.
If your question is to the T, my answer will be to the T. If your question is very generic, my answer will be very generic.
Understood. So going back to what you were saying, that it has to be what they ask you.
But also following the guidance. Aleena, I want to take this moment to really break through these myths that people have.
Yes, please.
Just because people go to an astrologer or a psychic or a doctor does not mean the cure is going to happen or the predictions will come true. When people come to me, before I come to predictions, I talk about their karmic lessons and I tell them, do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. But they come back saying your prediction has not come true. And I'm like, because you've not done what I asked you to do.
Okay.
Okay. People think कि astrologer के पास चले गए, psychic ने बोल दिया तो हो जाएगा. No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Tell me something, just because you switched on the GPS location or app, does that mean that you'll reach the location, or you have to drive yourself and you have to make that effort?
You have to make the effort.
Similarly, in any prediction, whether you go to a psychic or a tarot card reader or an astrologer or a coffee mug reader or anyone else who's reading your energies, just because they're predicting something does not mean it is going to come true.
So have your predictions gone wrong?
Predictions have gone wrong, but in terms of timelines.
Okay.
So, if I've said 1st July ko hoga, wo September mein hua, but hua hai. So, touch wood, predictions have not gone wrong, but the timing has always been a little up and down because also depends on their choice, their journey,
Okay, so if I had to again live ask you that if you're saying there's somebody emotionally that I am attached to, so then how would you say to get over or pass that phase?
You need to let go of that. That was not a karmic match, and this was also very. It's more like a friend. It's not like a romantic relationship. It's more like the idea of someone, and till the time you don't let go of that, you will not be fully able to receive what's coming your way.
And you give people the tools to be able to
Yeah,
go through and get over or things like that.
yeah.
Now that you do this for so many people, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned?
I've learned a lot of big lessons. Personally, I've learned, and through my personal relationships, I've learned how to stand up for myself and be assertive.
Okay.
Professionally, one of my biggest lessons is setting boundaries. I learned it the hard way because in my profession, if I don't set boundaries, I've had people where they bump into me at a coffee shop and like, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I am going live on Instagram with talking about something very different. I'm talking about chakras, but people are posting questions. When will I get married? When will I find a job? And people don't understand boundaries. If you answer one question for them, they'll come up with the second. Well, then you give them your finger and they'll,
Of course.
if someone wants your arm, they want the whole of you kind of a thing. So I think for me, professionally, has been setting boundaries is something that I've learned.
Me too. Because everybody would just pick up the phone. How do you do this on Instagram?
Yeah.
How do you do this on Facebook? Because it's new and it's an industry everybody wants to get into and they know that I'm doing it and it's public and also then there'll be half of my day would just be going and helping other people instead of doing what I'm supposed to do.
True. And also, Aleena, and this is something I tell my clients all the time, there are people wanting urgent appointments. And I'm like, listen, suffering is very personal. If you've lost a family member, it's unfortunate. Somebody else could be going through a divorce. Somebody else could be losing their child, or someone's family member could be critical. I cannot pick and choose whose suffering is more and whom I should attend to, right?
So how do you prioritize?
Right now, because of again, setting professional boundaries has been very difficult for me because, listen, you have to book an appointment.
Okay.
It's not so much about the money making.
Yeah.
But there has to be a protocol because I only have that many hours a day.
Yes.
That many hours a day where I can work because I'm also a mother of a 3-year. And when she's back from a school, which means no phone, no personal sessions, I don't deal with any problems in that space. So now in that many hours a day, I should be attending to people who've come through professionally, who've booked an appointment, who waited for 6-8 months versus someone who just wants to have a 1 minute to chat with me. So it's, like I said, it's come very difficult and it's not who I am, but I have to do it if I have to be sane. So.
To be sane. But you spoke about being a mom. So has that awakening helped further in your journey?
Of course.
How?
I think it's made me a lot more sensitive. And I am very sensitive and I'm ought to be. I've always, but this sensitivity is very different because you're dealing with a new soul and you kind of realize that every word you say, every ounce of frown or a smile on your face can actually affect another soul. What you say, how you say can either make their life or break their life. I think both my husband and me are super conscious about the whole trauma that goes around at childhood. And, we won't even talk about her or compliment her in front of her. Him and me will just not talk. We've just become so aware. And every step, every movement it's a lot of power. But at the same time, you feel so powerless because she's gotten me wrapped around her little fingers, right?
Yeah.
Because in one point, you realize that how powerful you can be as a soul impacting another soul. And as a human, as a mother, you realize that she's still going to do what she has to do and she's not going to listen to anything.
And you can't control it.
You can't control it. So do you see the extreme polarity that at one point you have to go through so much and then this is a normal mother also must be feeling this way. But as a psychic, where everyone comes to me just to listen to what I have to say. And then I have this child who just doesn't want to listen to me.
We know what is right for
Yeah.
children, but then you have to let them have their own journey.
True.
Speaking of children, when you were a child, I've heard that these things are also, they pass on from generations to generations. Do you think that your ancestors, forefathers have had this gift and that's how it's translated to you and could to your child also?
Absolutely. I get this from my mother's side.
Okay.
My nani is very, very learned.
Hmm.
Like, for me, going to Nani's house means reading her stash of Osho cassettes and Osho books. I started reading Osho by the time I was 10, 12.
Okay.
My mom's extremely intuitive.
Okay.
My Masi is a healer and a life coach herself. My mom's she's a very powerful healer, very intuitive, but she really never tapped into it professionally.
Okay.
I think I was the first, like, I kind of tapped into it professionally. And coming to my daughter, she is definitely very intuitive, very gifted. Whether she takes that path professionally or not, only time will tell. I will not want to impose it on her. Let her, she's here for her own journey. So I'll support whatever that is.
At what point did you come to know that this is your calling and this is what you want to do even professionally?
Professionally, I think I was 22, 23 when an article I'd written for Times of India changed my life. Before that, I was a fashion designer. And by then, I was already initiated into my gifts. But at the age of 22, and this is, I'm talking about like years ago, no one really thought that being a psychic was a profession.
Yes.
Up until 6 years ago, right? It's only post-COVID is when people have become more aware. So people would, अच्छा तू काला जादू करती है, अच्छा तू भूतों से बात करती है. Like, people had that kind of a notion. And for me to kind of break through that was very difficult. But coming back at 22, 23 is when I realized I need to take this up.
Okay, what was the Times of India article that changed your life?
So I'd written for Speaking Tree column, and it was an article on angels and spirit guides and the role that they play, and it was way ahead of its time. And that article, in less than 4 days, I had over 700 emails from all across India.
Okay.
Because that article gets published in 26 different languages, right?
Okay.
Across
Yes.
India. And then people called me saying, we want to do workshops, we want to know more, we want to come for, they had questions about life. And then I got a call saying, we have a group of 40 people and you tell us when you're coming, we want to do a workshop with you on angel therapy. And that's when I designed like the whole angel therapy psychic healing workshop. And I just flew in and I was pushed into a room. I was 23 and everyone else was 35, 50, 60 and wanting to learn from me. And I think just after that is when I was like, I need to do this professionally because there's so much I have to share with the world. And if I'm getting a platform, why not?
What path did you take to make it professional? Because I'm sure there's no books or course or, universities that...
So I started doing I started doing group sessions. I've done over 700-800 workshops. And then it came down to one-on-one.
Okay.
So...
Okay. I'm now going to go to Akashic readings because a lot of people have a lot of questions on that. First of all, what is Akashic readings?
So before we are born, our soul creates a certain theme, right? That, okay, I'm going on earth with what intention? What are the key lessons I need to learn? What are the key experiences that I want to go through? What are my karmic balances, or what do I need to release? What do I need to balance? मेरा किस किस के साथ लेना है, किस किस के साथ देना है. So, looking at all our previous lifetimes, we evaluate that, okay, in this lifetime, what is my objective? If I'm going on earth and going to put myself through suffering in human form, why am I going? And then we create what we call a blueprint.
Okay.
And that is what we call a karmic chart or an Akashic record. It's a record of the soul's life experience in human form.
And how do you read that for somebody?
Energy healing. That's what I do intuitively.
Okay. When you read these, of course you read it for somebody. Can they access it themselves?
No. Unless and until you have like heightened intuition and you practice something like this for 10, 15 years, day in and day out, very difficult.
Okay. Tell me, how do you know that when somebody is reading it to you? Like, basically, how do you go to the right person for this? Because now there are so many, right?
Yeah.
How do you know who to go to?
Your heart knows it, number one.
Okay.
Also, I would say go to someone. First of all, you have to choose. You know, off late, because of social media, there are people messaging you, oh, I have this message
Yes.
for you. Remember, a true psychic, a true astrologer will never come up to you and be like, I have a message for you, because they have to honor if they're gifted or if they truly honor the skill. There are people who are not gifted, but they learn it. And it's a skill set that they develop. They need to honor the skill set. They need to honor the gift, that you cannot read into people's energy till the time
They ask
for it. So if someone is coming to you saying, well, I have a message for you to know more, DM me or book an appointment, that's not the person you should go to. Secondly is how to define the authenticity of the person is, even if the person is predicting something bad, see how they make you feel. Are they creating fear? Are they looping you into more commercials? Oh,
Yes.
do this puja, or you come to me, I will do your healing, and this will, oh, you are going to go through a breakup, but the breakup can be avoided. I will do your healing.
Yeah.
You know, stay away from those people. Someone who's true to their gift will never tap into somebody's fear or insecurity or misuse that to make money. That for me, I think, is a mark of any true gifted or a skilled person who deals in the realm of occult healing or spirituality.
Okay, that's a good way to find people, because there are so many, even astrologers. I actually, few days ago, because I'm doing research on this topic, I guess I'm getting all of those. The astrology apps that are getting so popular, they've been funded like how.
Yeah.
And, I downloaded just to see how it works and what happens. And then you have a list of astrologers. I have to tell you, the free version of that app is basically you get a chat with somebody, an astrologer, for a few minutes. And then in that few minutes, obviously, say you ask something, okay? And I ask something random, like I'm like, what is my prediction for work, etc.? How is it going to be? And they type in something, and then the time gets over in the free version. And then they like pitch you, obviously. A number of astrologers who say increase your minutes by choosing somebody who's going to then, and they have different packages for what they deal with.
Yeah.
How do you know if that is somebody that is true or authentic? How can you just ask a question by sending it on a WhatsApp to somebody and they answer it?
When someone is authentic, Aleena, they will not sell their gift on marketplace. It's as simple as that. Because they will believe that if someone has to come to me, will come to me. I do not need to put myself out there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And this is something I often say, that just because you've learned how to cook and done few cooking classes does not make you a master chef. People, unfortunately, because of the whole spiritual business booming, people think that, okay, I will do this course and make money.
Yeah.
You can become an astrologer, you can become a psychic, but sustaining that business is very, very difficult if you're not meant to be doing that. Think about it, right?
Right. So how do you balance the business side of it versus, your helping of people? Because, and this is across the board for a lot of professions, right? You want to, for example, create art, help people, but then you also have to live your life, make money and all. But in especially things that you do in your field, you're like, you really want to help people, but then you're also monetizing. Has there ever been a contradiction? Like, am I doing the thing for the right reasons?
No, that's never really been a contradiction, for the simple reason I'm very clear. My true passion, apart from what I do is work, apart from reading Akashic records, I love to write. And if you've gone through my social media, I've written 2 books. Much before Instagram came, I used to do live sessions on Facebook. I'm talking about 15 years ago. I used to do free live readings, and each reading I would answer 1,500 questions for free. I have done a lot of content on giving people education in terms of spirituality that other people would be charging. Okay. So my content creation, my quotes that I write, everything I do on social media, which is educational, is my passion. Well, I'm not charging, of course. But over and above, and I'm not even telling people that, oh, you need to come to me, or if you're going through a breakup to know more, you'll never see. 6,000 posts, and not one post will have a CTA where, to know more, book an appointment. That's one. Number two is, I feel that, I would rather have 10 clients who come to me, but I'm karmically meant to help them, than to have 1,000 clients who come to me, but those 990 clients go out abusing me, saying, this didn't work for me. So, like I said, if someone is doing it with the right intent, they will allow things to come to you, because they will know that what belongs to them will never cross them.
Right. So sometimes it's just meant to be also the way the
be.
relationship works.
And even on a soul level, we choose doctors, we choose healers, we choose therapists to get healed through. Right? What may work for you may not work for somebody else, and vice versa. How do you define that? So also, like I said, I would rather have people coming to me ki mere karma mein hai, so I can heal them. So for me, I've always put that intent every time I've done any kind of work.
Okay. And since we're talking so much about the karmic journey, I wanted to ask you that when you go through this karmic journey, does it always have to be so painful when you're learning a lesson?
Not at all. Not at all. It can be fun also. But our ego, our programming, our childhood behavior programming, our negative belief systems, our fear blocks us from learning the lessons.
Okay. For example, if there is some positive thing that you have to learn, will it come without suffering? Can it come with
Of course, but as long as you accept it and you embrace it, right? So, and some people are naturally born with certain things that come to them very naturally. Forgiveness comes very naturally. Being balanced comes naturally. Trusting comes naturally. But again, like I told you in my case, assertiveness didn't come naturally. So I went through life situations where I was pushed to the edge, and that's when I found my voice and I learned how to speak up, which also helped me in my professional space, because if I didn't learn how to speak up, I would not be doing what I'm doing.
I wanted to ask you that a lot of people know when we'll come up with these solutions where they're like, think positive, or they'll be like, get over it, or, something better will come, which is what, our elders say, our parents say, or people will say. Nobody really gives us the tool to how do you forgive? How do you become okay? How do you become less angry? How will it become better? And I feel like when somebody tells me, I give them actionable steps. Like, this is what you need to do to be able to. So, for example, we all have jealousy in us. We all have anger. We all have a temper. We all have these emotions. By saying that, don't feel like that, it's not going to go away.
Of course.
So the dealing is that you sit with it, you understand why you're angry. Only then you'll be able to come up with a solution to get over that emotion, right?
Again, the key is acceptance. And also the key is not to term your emotions as negative. And that's one mistake that I think every human does, is they judge their own emotions. When you judge something in general, you're giving it more power. You're giving it more energy. And what happens is, emotions are a part that makes us humans, right? Now, imagine emotions like a namakdani, right? We all have the desi namakdani. We have salt, pepper, garam masala, mirchi. And every masala has its place. The awareness, what makes a good cook? They know what dish what ingredient has to go in what quantity. Similarly, what is an aware person? Is using your emotions emotions in the right way so that you can benefit from it rather than allowing your emotions to control you. So, jealousy is important if it can encourage you or motivate you to be a better person. But if it's slowing you down, that kind of jealousy is not good, right? Now, forgiveness, like we were talking, that you find it very difficult to forgive. Now, forgiveness means somewhere you have this innate need to control everyone's actions, that if they don't do this, I will be angry and I'm not going to forgive. So you become like the ethical police. But please understand that just because you are attached to people, Aleena, does not mean they are perfect. That does not mean they're not going to make mistakes. That does not mean they're aware or conscious. Do you know what I mean? Just because we are attached to people We think they will be better people and they will fight their demons. But let's be honest, we all have demons. We are all here struggling with our lessons. But just because, say you do something to me and I'm angry with you, but me being angry with you, is that going to make you learn your lesson? That's one. Number two is, if you do something, and that's how you are with everybody, okay? Be it with me or any other guest on the show, why am I taking it personally? Why is this triggering me? Imagine if I just take it on face value that this is how Aleena is, and it's okay for her to be that way. I need to do my bit and protect boundaries. When I'm not taking things personally, I won't get hurt. If I'm not hurt, I won't find the need to forgive people.
I am not that indifferent as a person. I'm being very honest. Why? Not with everybody.
Yeah.
Because at large, you don't need anybody.
Yeah.
But people that are close to you, that are your family,
Yeah.
or say you call somebody your best friend.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they do something that
course.
is not right in your own way, then those are the things you feel bad about.
See, again, it is very natural and normal to feel bad. Tomorrow it could be with a partner. What is important for every person is to know their boundaries. If you can communicate your boundaries with people, it's great because that helps not only you, but also helps the other person. And then you have to define your threshold. What is acceptable to you? What is not acceptable to you? As friends, what is negotiable for you? What is non-negotiable for you? Unfortunately, people get so swayed by this word love and in this dire need to be with somebody that they themselves don't know what triggers them. It's like we'll find out along the way what triggers me, what doesn't trigger me. So only if people become aware of their trigger points, what they like, what they don't like, before entering into relationships, then they'll be able to navigate it better. And again, they say that know thyself is because that if you know yourself, you will be able to attract better.
Okay.
If you don't know yourself, you'll just be flung around testing and trying every flavor, every cuisine, till the time you don't realize that this is what suits me and this is what doesn't suit me. And that's important, and that's where self-awareness comes from.
That's what the whole thing is. I meet so many people who are confused about whether should you try to fix the problem, or when is it that you actually get up and be like, this is absolutely not working out.
So that actually comes on the karmic thing.
Okay.
And sometimes karmically, people are not meant to go through a divorce or separate or go through a breakup. But they can also choose their choice of free will. That's one aspect. Again, going back to what I said a few minutes ago is every person before they enter a relationship has to see what is negotiable for them, what is not negotiable for them. So for some people, they want money and they're only okay getting married for money.
Yeah.
And then they come back saying, my partner's cheating on me. I'm like, you got married for money. As long as you're getting money, you be happy with that. Then don't ask for loyalty. Now, some people want a loyal partner, but then that person may not have that much money. Then as long as the person is loyal, then don't come back saying, I don't care about loyalty. Now I want a wealthy guy or wealthy woman. There are some people, especially in today's day and age, I want someone who's good looking. I think you may get a good looking partner, but then you have to be that secure that you can trust the person. If the partner's good looks is going to threaten you, make you fear or make you insecure, or because every time that partner talks to the person of the opposite sex, and then you're making your life hell and the other person's life hell. So you have to know yourself. You have to know what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and then you will be able to attract a partner who's going to be complementing to that, who will also appreciate your strengths and also complement your weaknesses. And that's what you call a partnership, right?
I feel like you're scared of things you don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm aware that there are, I don't know what to call them, spirits or jinns or whatever they are called in whatever different languages, but I'm sure that there are things that are
they're always there
beyond us as humans. There are other species.
So again, it's like you're aware or not aware, right? When you don't know, you don't know. It's a great ignorance is bliss.
Bliss.
The minute you get into it, then either you go all out
This is why.
or then you switch off.
This is why I don't get too involved. Like, I'm aware. And I feel like, and my theory,
Acknowledge it exists,
Yes.
but then it's okay not to.
my theory is unless you mess with them, I don't think they would mess with you.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
You know?
And they can't really mess with you. It's, you have to respect their presence. You have to respect their boundaries. And see, by the end of it, Aleena, they don't have a body. They can only scare you with electricity and electrical items, right? They cannot even touch you. They are not going to come and punch you or scratch you or, they can't really do it.
But, sometimes I've heard that, for example, getting possessed or, for example, they are like doing things to hurt you, harm you or your health and everything. That also happens.
That's a 1 out of 1,000 entities or spirits. That's also low vibrational energy, right? So it's just like a one-off.
You heal that also.
Yeah.
You take out the spirits if they are embodied in a human person.
Entities and spirits. Entities are like leeches. They can get attached to anyone and they'll just suck your energy out.
I've heard that people who are emotionally weak, the spirits go to them.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to get to them.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. Because so when someone is an empath, when someone you're emotionally weak, is what? Your aura is very weak, right? Now, if people don't lock their houses, those houses are prone to theft. Yes or no? Logic. If you keep a bag of money on the road, unzipped or unlocked, people are going to pounce. So if your aura is weak, if you're mentally and emotionally weak, there are more chances of you getting attacked first.
But I feel bad for people who are not as strong, because I know a lot of them, and it's not by choice, right? They are just like that. They're not
suffering is also this is a very common thing that, I am sensitive by nature, but this is how I am. But then this is how suffering is also.
Okay. So how do you change that?
By, again, a lot of practice. You have to do your visualization, aura protection, healing, meditation, mantras.
Yeah, maybe that's what they don't do. For example, I have friends, more of them girls, who are they're just so nice, very simple, very sweet, very like whatever's happening, and I feel like, they're more prone to like getting
absolutely
taken advantage of, for example.
Absolutely.
Because you're so Siddha, which you can't be.
Again, like I said, boundaries, right? What are boundaries? Boundaries are energy, boundaries that you lay that, okay, this action, this emotion, this reaction from the other person is not going to cross and come to me that I get triggered.
Right.
They're energetic boundaries. I'm not going to come and put a boundary on your face saying, you are not going to do this. Energetic boundaries are me telling myself that whether Aleena does it or my parents do it or my best friend does it, I am not going to allow to trigger me because I don't have control on that. That's what emotional boundaries are. Or then I withdraw. Usually people associate boundaries with pushing the other person away or cutting off. Boundaries about you withdrawing emotionally rather than completely cutting off the person.
Okay. So. Means you won't feel what you're feeling at that level for another person while they can still exist in your life.
Let me give you a very simple example, and I think a lot of people might be able to relate to it in our social space, right? Just because we are going out and hanging out with people, that does not mean they need to know everything about your life.
Yes.
So say today you're my friend, but I also know that anything and everything I say, you'll go and tell 10 people. So say I have applied for a new job and I'm going for an interview, but I don't want 10 people to know. It is my awareness that Aleena will not be able to keep the secret safe. Let me not tell this to her. When I get the job, I will tell this to her. When I want 10 people to know, I will tell her. But that does not mean I cannot go out with you and have a good time. Which means I have to curtail my need for coming and telling you everything. I
Right.
get it.
I get it completely because all my life I've been an oversharer. And because I like to talk, because I'm social, because I like to, know whatever's happening, I would tend to, I didn't realize, not realize only that why am I saying everything?
Yeah.
Just because somebody's asked me does not mean that I need to tell them everything. And then as life passed and things are happening more publicly for me, I realized that that's not the right thing to do. And then I have to consciously stop myself.
Absolutely.
Consciously say that, okay, this is only how much I am going to let out about my life or my experiences in front of somebody.
You have to safeguard. Again, you are responsible for your energy. Like I said, just because parents have given birth to you, just because you get married and take 4 feras and 7 feras does not mean your mental, emotional well-being is their responsibility. They are going through their battles. They are responsible for taking care of you and, your day-to-day. But every thought you're thinking, every emotion you're feeling, they're not responsible, and neither you are responsible for them.
Tell me, since we're talking about relationships, what are like the top 5 karmic lessons that you have to learn in a relationship?
Number 1 is boundaries. Number 2 is emotional communication. Relationships are what? They are bonds or connections. And if you're not able to communicate and share, there is no bond. Because what is a connection? It's a two-way energy. The third is trust. Because when you get into a relationship, I'm not asking you have to trust the other person blindly. You have to trust yourself that you are falling in love with somebody who's worth it. And if you don't trust yourself, then don't be with the person. The fourth is forgiveness and letting go. They go hand in hand. For the simple reason, just because you're falling in love does not going to make the other person's flaws go away. You also come with your own baggage, your own traumas, your own flaws, your negative behavior programming. And the other person also comes with their programming and their negative belief systems. One must learn to balance, complement. And also, I think going back to the first point, communication, when you are able to communicate your weaknesses, only then the other person will be able to complement, right? And I think the fifth would be patience. I'm sure every child has heard their parents say that aajkal ke zamane mein the kids don't have patience. I think patience is very important. It's also because the kids aspire, the younger generation expects so much from their partner or their relationship. What our parents have achieved at the age of 50, 60, kids at 20, 25 expect that from their partner. My father drives a S-Class, so I need a boyfriend or a girlfriend who's roaming around in an S-Class. It takes time.
Of course.
So I think patience would be the fifth.
Okay. Tell me, in terms of psychic powers, what is like the most powerful or surprising reading that you've ever done? Like somebody's that stood out.
I've had cases where at an older age, my client's parent has left the body. Exit point has come. Original soul has left the body. But there's another soul who's living through that parent's body and continues living for 2 years.
This person is dead or alive?
Alive.
But
there's a
soul has
walk-in.
gone.
Yeah, but there's a walk-in.
How does that happen?
So again, death happens when the soul leaves the body. But at that point, if there's another soul who's looking for a body, who wants to continue on earth and is looking for a body, they will walk in and use that body as a way to continue their attachment on earth.
So that person will completely change.
Yeah.
That's what happened? That's how
what
you
happens.
could tell?
Yes. The food behaviors, their discipline, their likes, dislikes. So when they came to me, they actually thought that their mother was possessed. And I'm like, no, this is not possession. It's like the actual soul has left the body, but this is a walk-in. Now it's a catch-22 where if I'm to release the walk-in,
the person will
die. Okay. So it was a catch-22.
What did you do?
I had to let the person go. I had to release it. Eventually, it took a lot of time for the family to come to terms with it. And again, in this case, like I said, when it's a case like this where we do spirit releasement or someone is stuck where the time has come, but there's an attachment, we do spirit releasement, cord cutting. We need permission of the family members. So they took 2 months to wrap their head around it. And then they came back saying,
After 2 months, they came to you and
Yeah.
they said, release the spirit.
Yeah.
So when you released the spirit, the person died.
in 3 weeks. Not immediately, like I've done the releasement and the person drops dead. Like it's not like what happens in movies.
yeah.
It takes, see, energy always takes time to manifest. Energy healing is happening in the 5D world, which is a 5-dimensional world. For anything to convert from a 5D into the 3D, because 3D is the physical. Dense form, it takes time.
Okay. Have you ever regretted doing anything?
No. No.
Nothing went wrong where you were like, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
No.
What if, in this situation that you just gave, maybe that soul was supposed to live in that person's body?
No. So even in that case, we do an energy check.
Okay.
We do an energy check. So in that case, we do that. This astral being who's come in as a walk-in, is their time on earth done, or they were meant to live?
Right.
So we do that check-in.
And in that checking, you were like, no, they're just...
It was an ancestral who was just attached to materialistic things. So
that can happen also.
that can happen also. Walk-ins is very common. So
Walk-ins, they are called.
Walk-ins.
And you see them?
I see them. So again, one of the gifts, like you said, I can tell whether a person's authentic soul is inside the body or not. How when you go to a mobile guy, you come to know whether this is authentic, not authentic. It's an art, right? You just come to know. So many times when I used to astral travel, every time my soul would come back, I would always cross-check, is this my authentic soul or not?
Please tell me, what is astro travel? Your soul is traveling through lifetimes?
Not through lifetimes, through different dimensions.
Tell me. Which dimension have you gone to?
No, so okay, then you have star seeds. You have different dimensions of the spiritual realm. You have the healing realm where your soul can go and rest. You have the realm of angels and guides. You have the realm where all your ancestors who've passed away, you can go meet them. You have the realm of Akashic records where you can go and review lifetimes. So when people say, I've had a past life dream, it's not that you're going back into a past life, because that era has ended. There's nobody living there, right? It's you going into the Akashic, the book of records or the library of records, and tapping into your past lives.
Okay.
Sometimes a lot, this used to happen a lot earlier, is I would go back to Ceres, because like I know I come from there. Ceres is a star seed. It's a star actually. So I would travel to a different star and a planet and come back.
You can consciously do that?
I can consciously do that.
Okay, so what happened when you went there and came back?
So that's the place of rest. That's the place of a very different vibration, right? So imagine like a spa, right? Why do we go for a spa? To get reset, rejuvenate, relax. There is no energy exchange. It's just calm and bliss.
Okay.
So that was like the place for the soul to rest and reset their energies and come back.
Okay, have you ever gone, your soul has traveled somewhere, learned something from somewhere else and come back?
This used to happen a lot when I was growing up. Okay. Not in recent times. I haven't done that. But when I was growing up, a lot, many times.
What happened? What did you learn from another?
Like a lot to do with angels, how the angelic realm works, different kinds of angels, how one can communicate with them, intentions, affirmations, words that we can choose to words that we can choose to say to them that invokes their power, invokes their energy. So I've done a lot of those psychic downloads.
From everything that you have learned, if you had to tell me, Aleena, this is the most important life lesson for your entire life to be better, because of course suffering will be there, ups and downs will be there, that we cannot negate. Yeah. But from everything that you've learned, if you had to tell me that this is something you should definitely concentrate on and it's going to help you in life.
Energy conservation. Realizing where I have the power and where I don't have the power. Focus your energies on where you have the power. Do not focus your energies on when you don't have the power.
And this is specifically for me, or would you say this?
Everybody, because again, when you die, God's not asking you how much money you've made and how many breakups you've gone through and how many relationships you've been and how much charity you've done. God's going to ask you, they're going to measure your energy frequency. And the more you conserve your energy, the higher the frequency.
I want to ask you about collective karma now. There's a lot of plane crashes that are happening and a lot of people dying together.
Yeah.
Whether it's war or whether it's such incidences. Is there a collective karma that they all have to go through or their souls have to go through because of this process?
I won't say it's a collective karma, but maybe collective exit points. And also why so many crashes are happening, wars are happening. It's all about fire. People are dying through fire.
Okay.
It's causing fire, a crash, a war, or a bombing, all of that. This year is the year of Mars. Mars is an aggressive energy. It's the fire element. Every planet holds a different element. So this year is the fire energy. It's the number 9 is the year of Mars. So that's why a lot of fire energies, a lot of aggression. People are feeling aggressive, agitated, triggered. And coming back, it may not be a collective karma of living a life together or a karmic exchange, but it could be an exit point. Now, exit point is not a moment. It's a time period. So say if there are 100 souls who have an exit point of say Feb to May, April to August, Feb to August, April to October, might choose that crash to release. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Because an exit point is not key on 26th June, all these souls are going to die. It comes in time periods, and a period is always elongated. It could be a 2-month period, it could be a 6-month period. So all the people who have a similar or a common exit point or an overlapping exit point can choose to release during that time.
We're reaching towards the end, but the most interesting question I have is that you've said that Sushant Singh Rajput's soul reached out to you. I want to ask you, why did it reach out only to you?
It must have reached out to a lot of other clairvoyants, and it has.
Okay.
I know this because when I was in conversations with Shwetadi, his sister, she did also say that she was talking to a lot of clairvoyants back in US. So that was one reason. The second reason is a little personal because it's a client confidentiality. So I won't say that.
Okay. Okay. And is there anything you can tell us about why and what happened post he reaching out to you?
He basically reached out to me so that his family could get closure because, of course, they were hurting a lot. They were going through a lot of pain. That was also one of the reasons. There was a lot of messages that came in for the family as to what they need to do after him passing away. So it was primarily because of that.
Okay. How often do these people reach out to you? Not as in these people, as in people who are dead, reach out to you to pass on something to people living?
It's happened, to be honest. If I let my guards down, it can happen all the time. I just choose not to let my guards down.
Okay.
In Sushant's case, it happened. My guards were up. It kept happening persistently for a week. So I had to lower my guards. But it was very persistent. But like I also said, it happened because of, there's a pre-story before that. So that's why.
What do you mean by guards up?
Like, so how I have energy guards, right? I have to have my energy protection. My guards are very up in the energy realm. So I could be doing people's reading, but I may still not have my guards down.
Okay.
So just because I'm doing people's reading does not mean I need to lower my guards down. My guards only come down when I'm with my husband or my child. So that too also I have to be very selective of where I am, because I'm also prone to psychic attacks. I'm also prone to a lot of negative influence as well. So I have to have my guards up. So even when I'm doing readings or communicating with the spirit world, I don't let anyone and everyone just come through. I sense, I pick up messages, and it's happened in the past where a friend's father had passed away, and this friend didn't know that I could communicate with spirits. I was not out in the open. And I could sense I was getting messages.
Okay.
And then when I spoke to my friend, he could relate to it. So he could confirm that, yeah, these things are happening. So I'm like, listen, this is what your father wants you to do. This is what you should be doing. This is what you shouldn't be doing. So where I can help, I help. But also that time was very different, right? I had limited clients. I had limited interaction as a psychic with people. Right now, I cannot possibly do that.
Okay.
So,
what legacy do you, as a person, Tamanna, want to leave? Versus, is there another legacy or story that the soul wants to say
I think my legacy that I want to leave for every person who doesn't even meet me but watches me or hears or reads about me, I think I want to make people independent of everyone else. I want to tell them that they have so much power that they've not tapped into. That if you tap into that power, you will not need a psychic, you will not need a healer, you won't need a doctor, you won't need a therapist.
Okay.
And I want to take people back into that power. And that's what.
And so, what does one have to do for it to tap into their own powers?
Is know that, on a soul level, we are all so powerful. The fact that we've manifested this life in flesh and blood is so much power. But we'll end up giving away so much of our power into what other people are doing. And imagine, like I said, if they conserve that and utilize it and invest in their own energies, how strong and powerful would they be as souls, right?
Interesting. That's a nice leaving thought to the podcast which we have done. I think it's the longest podcast that I have ever done. But I'm glad I did because each part was so interesting that I'm sure everybody's going to be glued to it.
Thanks.
And I have to mention the fact that there are so many beliefs that I have different and things that I don't know that I learned from today. Because, for example, I grew up in a Muslim household, right? So we're taught life, death. We're taught of a life post death, but we're not taught about, for example, we don't believe in different lives. Like we weren't before, we weren't after. It's going to be that heaven and hell concept is what you might know. We know. But again, I'd love to know and understand how different things function or work because I've just never read about it or studied about it. So I think it's going to be enlightening for the audience also.
Lovely.
So I'm so glad that you could do this and take our time.
Thank you.
And I'm glad. Thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you for having me, Aleena. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you guys still have a lot of questions, which I think you should leave down in the comments. We'll try to answer them. And I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.